Joining us now, Drew McKissick, state chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party. Mr. Chairman, it is a real treat to have you in the House at the table. Welcome.
Sir, good to be with you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering, what is your reaction to the comments from former President Donald Trump last night at that conservative rally in South Carolina?
Well, I wasn't there, and I wasn't able to hear all the audio and what you were talking about here just a minute ago, but I do know that
I'm so sorry, Mr. Chairman. Let me play the clip for you. Can we play the clip of the President Trump's mashup? Let's play it for you. So sorry. Hold on one second. We'll play it.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones, you see. That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come.
Your reaction, sir?
Well, look, if at this point everybody doesn't know the way Donald Trump speaks and has spoken since he came on the scene in 2015, then they haven't been in this country very long. Donald Trump is like a billionaire construction worker. I mean, that's the way he talks, and if we haven't got used to that yet, then they're not going to. Simple fact, though, is you've got a room full of people there, as was pointed out a minute ago, who are conservatives. Those are black conservatives who are engaged in our party, who support the president. They invited him to come be there, and I'm sure enjoyed having him there last night. And here we are today in South Carolina, where we have what has been since 1980 been the state that any Republican who's going to win the White House has to win. And these people are engaged in Trump's campaign. They're very involved in it at many levels. He's got a large coalition of African-American supporters, Hispanic-American supporters. You go through the list. Elected officials in South Carolina. We're seeing record enthusiasm here. What hasn't been talked about yet, and I saw your reporter going through the big board there a minute ago, is the early vote here in South Carolina. So the total on the early vote came in at the end of the day on Thursday. And our total statewide was 208,000 votes. Democrats only had 132,000 people statewide vote in their primary, and that was after Jim Clyburn and Joe Biden go to the lengths of giving them the first in the nation primary. And that's all the people that they can muster to get excited about voting Democrat. We beat that by 70,000 votes before we even get to primary day here. The record that we've had here in this primary was 765,000. That was in 2016. And I'm predicting today that we're going to beat that number.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate what you just said a moment ago about South Carolina. Since 1980. I am a student of South Carolina. My family's from South Carolina, Columbia, Orangeburg, St. Matthews. So I'm very familiar. I've spent a lot of time growing up there. And the one thing I noted when I was national chairman was demographically South Carolina is changing. It is part of what has been termed the New South. It is a growing political force. Georgia is another good example. North Carolina began this trend in Virginia about 20 years ago. To that point, when I was chairman, I tried to upend our primary process a little bit, tick some people off inside the party, which I'm famously known for doing. But the reality of it was that what you just said is important, that South Carolina is the new frontier for political engagement and setting up national general election wins. The Democrats figured it out. That's why they switched. They made that push. What do you see going forward as South Carolina's role, given what you just said, in creating this new political landscape where the combination of black voters, white voters, independent voters, Democrats coming together can be a good coalition for Republicans in their primary, which feeds a general election?
I would say just a couple of things real quick about that. Number one, I think the reason we have that track record is because we're the most representative coalition of Republicans within this state of the Republican coalition nationally in a lot of ways. We've got social conservatives, fiscal conservatives, populist conservatives, national security, foreign policy conservatives, a big percentage of retired veterans here in this state. And when you add all that up statewide, we're very representative of the Republican coalition nationally in a lot of ways. And I think that's another reason why we get it right. But further, as that coalition has expanded, we have grown in this state. So we have gone from, in the days in the 70s where they didn't even print Republican or Democrat in the legislative manual because everybody was a Democrat, to a supermajority in the state house, every single statewide elected official, both senators, 6 out of 7 congressmen, et cetera, and more local elected officials. The biggest statistic I can give you along those lines to show the growth here, and I attribute to that coalition, is straight ticket voting. We're one of, I believe, 8 states that still have straight ticket voting. We never beat Democrats on straight ticket voting until 2016. We beat them by 2 points. In 18, we beat them by 8 points. In 20, we beat them by 17 points. In 22, we beat them by 27 points. Statewide on straight ticket voting, the bottom has dropped out of the Democrat Party on the local races around the state. More of those people are flipping parties, switching parties. And what you're seeing in many cases, even local elected officials who are conservative Democrats and independents who are switching parties. I'll make another prediction to you today. I think when the networks do their exit polls and we see the crosstabs and all the self-ID questions, I'll predict that you'll see a greater percentage of self-ID Democrats who will probably vote for Donald Trump today here in South Carolina.
All right, Mr. Chairman, appreciate your time very much, and I'm looking forward to watching South Carolina emerge as the first in the nation primary someday.